What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about the future of Breece Hall. Will he remain a New York Jet after the draft, or will he be traded? Let's get into it, guys. So, not a prediction video. I don't have a real good feeling about either way, but I do see the rumors going on. I do think it makes sense on both sides that Breece stays with the Jets long term. He gets an extension from Aaron Glenn and this new regime from the Jets. But I also can see as well this new regime trading him during the NFL draft. You know, this draft class is so deep. What, 13, 14 running backs? I can legit see, man, I can legit see maybe 9 running backs can start from the Jets from day one. That's not Braylon Allen. That's from this draft. If you trade Breece Hall, let's say to the Browns, to the whoever, we'll get into some teams later. But if I could see 9 running backs where I could close my eyes and say, yeah, I'm fine with them taking starter reps with the Jets as a starting running back. I can really see it. And to be honest, as a non-Jet fan, Breece hasn't been phenomenal. He's been good, but he hasn't been super duper great. Where like, oh yeah, we have to. Not we. I'm not a Jets fan, but they have to re-sign him and give him a contract extension. I don't see that. He's been good. He still has promise, but he hasn't been phenomenal to where they have to pay him, and that's why I think in the end all be all, if it was up to me personally, and if I was a fan of the Jets, I would say go ahead and trade him. You have there's no point in putting money into a running back who hasn't solidified himself yet. And like I said, he's had good games, he had great moments, but I know the O line hasn't been great. The roster in general hasn't been great around him and Garrett Wilson. I understand that, but I'm on board. I've said all offseason as well, trade Garrett Wilson. I've said that as soon as the season's ended for the New York Jets, trade Garrett Wilson. So I don't mind the Jets kind of starting over. Trading Wilson, trading Hall, getting the O line better, finding a quarterback this year, next year, whatever, and just trying to get better. Now, if he does stay, nothing bad about that. Him and Braylon Allen will be a good 1-2 punch. I think they should use Braylon Allen a lot more than last year's staff did. Um, but first thing first, they find a real quarterback that you're gonna really develop and grow with long term, where Breece can be with for a little bit, hit Breece and Allen, and kind of help get better. The O line hopefully gets better as well. Get Garrett Wilson some help, So it's a lot to do for this Jets team, but we'll see what happens if Breece Hall does stay and get an extension. But on to his maybe future teams. There's a lot of teams that could use him, a lot of teams that he'll fit great for. And 2 teams that stand out to me right away are 2 contenders, the Commanders and the Chiefs. Both teams have a lot of running backs in their running back room, but no one like Breece Hall. The Chiefs, they have Carson Steele, and they brought back Kareem Hunt. They have Pacheco. They brought in Elijah Moore. I think no, not Elijah Moore, Elijah Mitchell, former Niners back. But none of those guys, to me personally, are on Breece Hall's level. I think fully healthy, Pacheco's better, but other than that, nobody else is better. And I think the Chiefs need a more dynamic back. Going to the Commanders, a deep room. Austin Eckler, who's getting up there in age. Brian Robinson Jr. What's the guy's name? McNichols, I think. McNichols, maybe, I forgot his name. But they have another guy, that their third string guy, who got a little work in last year. They're solid. Brian Robinson Jr. hasn't really panned out how they would hope. I think the Commanders need to get more dynamic running back in that spot as well. So, but it's tough too, because you say, like I said earlier, you have a bunch of running backs in this draft class that can do that. Samson for Tennessee, Jaden Blue, the list goes on and on and on, but just more speed, more just dynamicism. Those quicker, smaller, faster guys make more sense, where you would trade for a veteran, not a veteran, but a guy who's been around for a couple years, with a little bit of NFL wear and tear on him. And Breece Hall, is that the smartest move to go? You have other teams out there as well, the Titans. I've been seeing that floating around a lot, pairing him with Pollard. Not opposed to it, but you have Taji Spears. I like Spears a lot. I guess the Titans don't anymore. I'm not sure, but the rumor is trading Breece Hall to get Will Levis. Not opposed to it. You know, the Jets get Levis to sit under Fields and battle out with Fields, and then Breece goes to the Titans to pair with Pollard. Not mad at that at all. To be honest, you have the Browns. Makes sense. Jerome Ford, those guys. I think Breece Hall is better than all those guys. Now that Nick Chubb is gone, and probably won't ever be. You know, I hope he does, but be honest. Nick Chubb won't probably be back to where he was a couple of years ago in his prime. Nasty knee injury, you know, we'll see. But um, I think Breece Hall will be RB1 clearly in that Browns team. The Raiders, he'll be RB1. So, you know, there's some teams out there that could use Breece Hall in services. And the idea of him makes sense. But we'll see. We'll see, man. Not too much long video today. You know, draft coming around the corner, so you know, getting out my last couple trade videos, predictions, draft thoughts. But I think I'm probably all out. You know, there's a couple here and there left, nothing major. You know, but I'm just thinking. You know, I hope for some fireworks, something fun, something that you know, guys get moved. Not Garrett, George Wilson. Excuse me, mixing up names now. George Pickens, Garrett Wilson. You know, Tyreek Hill. Just I want to see some fireworks, man. And Breece Hall could be a part of that, or he could not. You know, we'll see what happens, but we'll know a telltale sign. If the Jets in day two draft a Devin Neal or you know somebody, then you be like, okay, yeah, the writing's on the wall. A Breece Hall move should be coming at any moment. But you know, we could easily see Breece Hall get a 2-year deal or something like that. But I just think the way this running back class looks, it's hard to want to pay a running back like Breece Hall who's good but just not great. But we'll see. We'll see. But that's it for video, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time.